I wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Welcome to your 2021 video horoscopes with me, Lada from Astrolada. Thank you so much for choosing me to be astrologer for you for the year 2021. And what can I say? Just a quick summary. I'm delighted to say that 2021 will be way easier than 2020. You remember 2020, if you saw the videos that I created for 2020, I warned everyone this will be one of the toughest year ahead. For 2021, the action is moving from the cardinal signs like Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra, who had it the hardest, whether it was their ascendant, sun, or moon in 2020. It's moving to the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. And when I say action, it means they'll have life-changing events. They'll have something that takes them to the next level. But passing from one level to the other is always a bit more difficult. Especially fixed signs, they don't like changes so much. But again, it will be, I promise 2021 will be way easier generally for the world and each one of us. Just a few people will be a little bit more tested. And 2021 is when a new age for humanity starts, generally speaking. This is when Saturn and Jupiter start their new cycle for the first time in almost 800 years in an air sign. I mean, they kickstart this 200-year period. They met in the 80s in an air sign, but the last time they met in Aquarius was 1226, something like that, 800 years ago. So we'll start a brand new life, brand new era for humanity. You can check out my video, which is for free on YouTube, about the year 2021. For the whole world, there is new hope. Aquarius energy is coming in. There is a new hope for humanity, new future. Life will start splitting into society will start splitting into, not in a bad way, but in a way that instead of fighting and not seeing eye to eye, it will separate somehow. There will be people that want to live alternatively and people that want to follow the normal rules. But anyway, let's get back to you because those horoscopes are specific for you. So let me tell you what you need for those horoscopes in order to work for you. You need to find out your sun, moon, and ascendant signs. I want you to check all three of them. If you can't afford to buy all three, just listen to your ascendant sign at least. But you need to know your time of birth to listen to the ascendant sign. And you need to know the degree as well. And if you have time to watch all three videos, the ascendant, sun, and moon, then listen to the specific degrees when I speak about the moon and the sun especially. For the ascendant, pay attention to everything, the houses, whatever. For the sun and moon, especially pay attention if I mention your specific day of birth, if it's the sun, or the degree of the moon as well. The houses can also be relevant. Who will be affected most? Everyone feels affected by the ascendant sign, but you need to be very correct with your time of birth. Like if your mom told you between 2 and 3 o'clock, no, it's like you need 2:34. For example, PM. And within 2-3 minutes at least to have your correct time, or 5 at most. So listen to your ascendant sign and the degree, start with it. Then listen to your sun sign. And of course, with the sun sign, you just know which day you're born, but you can check the degree as well. Listen to your moon sign. If you're born during the day, which means before the sunset, while the sun was above the horizon, the sun sign is very important for you because the sun becomes your ruling light. If you're born at night, like I am, when the sun has set, you have to find out what day the sun set on the day you were born and rose, so when you know your time of birth, whether it was day or night. So if you're born at night, the moon, it will be very important for you because the moon becomes your queen, the light. So but I would advise, listen to three of those: ascendant, sun, and moon. If you're a woman, the moon sign is usually very important. If you're a man, the sun sign is usually very important. If you're a woman in a competitive career or who has her own business or who is very much into her career, the sun sign becomes very important because the sun sign is our goals, is our masculine side, taking decisions. Let me tell you what the difference, the subtle differences between listening to your ascendant, sun, and moon is. With the ascendant, it is the physical body and your fated events. They're kind of pre-recorded for you. You really see the ascendant sign in when you, if you have your correct time of birth, you would see it as basically as events that materialize, that are happen around you, and they've been already, usually they're like preset somehow. They're set in stone. The ascendant is the most material aspect of the whole horoscope. It's kind of like our path, our destiny, whatever you want to say, the destiny of the soul. It's a little bit, we still have free will to some extent, but the ascendant is one of the most set ones. So you'd see very material manifestations with the ascendant sign. With the moon sign, the moon is the soul and the feelings. So a lot of women, because women are more connected with their feelings, tend to actually resonate a lot with their moon sign. And they're like, yes, those things for the ascendant sign are happening, but what really, where my whole heart is and where my whole attention has been and where my whole excitement has been and my focus or pain or sadness, whatever, has been as per the moon sign prediction. So do check it out. While the sun sign is, and the moon sign is, again, the moon is connected to the past, so it's a little bit more karmic. It's something that has been maybe programmed for the soul before our birth, type of thing. While the sun sign is the spirit, where we have the most free will. And with the sun sign, people often resonate when they listen to their sun sign. They say, wow, it's so correct. Especially people, the more self-sufficient and independent you are, the more and how do I say, the more it's the sun is where we have the free will power. And this is where we can influence the sun sign prediction, the events, the most. And this is what usually our goals, our dreams are about. The sun is like this ideal of the spirit where you want to reach, something that feeds your spirit, so to speak. So that's why a lot of people, especially in the West or in more, where people have more free will generally in countries like that, to determine their life, to determine their direction in life, because there are a lot of countries you cannot still do that. Some countries are still set like 1,000 years back, in mentality. But where there is more free will, usually in the more developed countries, or and then the sun is very powerful. People can feel the sun very powerful, especially people that, as I said, men feel the sun very strongly. Women who have their own goals, who have freedom to go after career and things like that, to create their own careers. And especially if you have a stellium of planets in the same sign as your sun. For example, I'm Aries sun, but I also have their Venus, Mercury, Mars. So then I would feel the prediction from the sun sign very, very strongly. Maybe not as strongly as the ascendant, but it will be up there. And with the sun sign prediction, we have the most ability, when you listen to it, to take the higher road, to use our free will to change things to the best manifestation possible. With the ascendant, with the moon, well, with the moon, if you can control your feelings, but it's harder to control your feelings. With the sun sign, if you can control your thoughts, it's easier to control your thoughts than your feelings. With the ascendant sign, it's kind of more like set. So I told you this. How do you find out what your sun, moon, and ascendant signs are? You can, let me share my screen with you. You can go to my website, astrolada.com, where you can find any other, astrolada.com. Here it is. You can find any other astrology website, but I have this free birth chart calculator. You can go there. You can enter your details, your name, whatever it is, your birth time. Let's say you're born, okay, maybe you're not 8 years old, but the minute, you don't need the second. Very few people know the second. Your town, I'll say New York, continued, so it's easier. And here from the drop-down menu, you find out which New York it is. Let's say there might be New York in Texas, Henderson, okay? Let's say I was born there. And this is what you get. It might look like alien, alien stuff to you. But all you need to do is go here, planetary details. And I want you to take those first three, ascendant, sun, and moon. You see those three. and write the degree and the sign. So this person that I invented has the ascendant in Taurus at 24 degrees. Don't look at the second number, the second row. These are the seconds. So just round it up, 24 degrees Taurus. The sun is at 16 Aries. Usually everyone knows their sun sign. This is the sun sign is the same, every year at the same time. And the moon sign of this person is Libra at 8 degrees. Write those down. And if you hear when you're watching Libra, for example, we mentioned Libras born with sun, moon, or ascendant from 3 till 9 degrees, they would feel this influence very strongly. Well, 8 degrees is within that influence. So pay attention what I'm talking about. You're going to feel, especially when I give specific degrees or days. If you're using for the moon, it will be a degree. And you hear your degree or that it's within the range, pay attention to that. You're going to feel this big time. The same with the sun sign, but with the sun sign, I also give the day you were born. For example, people that have degree at 16 Aries, they're born around the 4th or 5th of April. Every year is the same. The ascendant, I'll give the degrees again. So if I say if you're born Taurus, for Tauruses who have anything in degrees from say 12 to 26, and this person has a 24 degrees in Taurus, you will feel this influence, and so on and so on. If you don't hear your degree, just listen. Start with the ascendant sign. The whole prediction for the ascendant sign will, the houses. Then go through the sun sign if you're born during the day, the moon sign second, or second if you're born at night, especially if you're a woman, and end with one of the three and listen to the three of them and see which one you resonate the most with. See which one makes the most sense for you. Watch it again in the middle of the year, towards the end of the year, and you will figure out which planet actually is very strong. But always the ascendant is so important, guys, if you know your time of birth. And because anyway, I cannot fully give you specific reading. I just look at the whole sign, the whole Taurus I'm going to be speaking, or the whole Gemini. But there is a way for you to be following daily your personal transits like no one else in the world has them. It's again on the website, Personal Transit Calendar. You go there, you register. I already have an account. 50,000 people are using it, I think, already. For free. It's weekly, it's for free. But nowhere else in the world and I show you how to use it here. There is an instructional video how to use the transits. But here you put your details. You can put as many people as you want. You're gonna get free for them, or you can buy. You can buy for a year transits or for a month transits. A lot of the people that are subscribe for a month at a time, and you can just watch your specific transits here. They come out. No one else in the world will have the same transits as you on the same time, unless you have a twin born at the same place at the same time at the same minute as you. Otherwise, those transits will always be different. And you can go through each day of the year and see which transits you have. And you click and you read, and that will, you don't need my videos. But in those videos, what I strive to do, because a person has so many transits throughout the year. Look at that. This is just for 1 month. So many transits. How do you make sense of them? In those yearly videos, this is what I help you do, especially if you watch them for your ascendant. To a lesser degree, sun and moon, but they're still relevant. And I give you the bigger, fuller picture, instead of like separate, you have like, for example, look how many transits I'm currently having this day today. And, so, which one, but I give you like a summary of it, like wrap it up. All right. There you go. I think we're ready. If you have written your sun, moon, or ascendant, let's dive in. But before that, just a little quick prayer for God and to bless the year 2021 and to protect anyone. So, dear Father, Mother, Creators, dear Jesus, dear Mary, Buddha, Allah, whoever whoever has the higher power from whatever place they're praying in the world, turn towards your higher power, to the angels, to the exalted beings that are taking care of humanity, that are selflessly helping us every day, our guardian angels, our departed beloved ones. Thank you so much for protecting us, for keeping us sane during the year 2020, for raising our consciousness collectively during that year. And I ask you for this new age that starts from the year 2021, from this brave new world. Let it be tilted towards the positive. Let the balance go towards the positive. Let more and more souls wake up to the divine love, to brotherhood, to peace. We're entering the age of Aquarius full speed from the beginning of 2021. May God, your desire and your plan for the world be fulfilled through each one of us. May brotherhood, love, equality, fraternity come, compassion between each other rather than separation. And let everyone who is watching this video find out the most important information for them, reach their heart, reach their soul. Let them connect with the information that is most relevant for them, and let them be prepared and help them through the path, and help me be a good channel and a good channeler of your wisdom, of your knowledge, so I can connect the people with the right inspiration. Amen. All right, let's start. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising 2021. Welcome! We survived it, Aries. We survived 2020. And those of you who are here, you're heroes. Well done. Big congratulations. 2020 was one of the most challenging years, probably, for most of the cardinal signs, one of which you are, one of which I am as well. A lot of challenges, a lot of big changes in life, but I have such great news for us, because 2021 is going to be God's gift for us, God's reward for the hard things of the past 2 years, because 2019 also was tough for some of us as well, but 2020 was out there on another level because everything had attacked our horoscope in 2020. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Pluto. It's not in a bad way attack, but it was challenging us through difficult aspects and activations towards the sign of Aries, which means that we had to take difficult decisions, we had to fight through something, we had to, Saturn and Jupiter in the 10th house probably delayed a lot of your plans in career, especially when they were retrograde, or they made you work extra hard, or there were challenges with authority figures and with institutions. It was like your inner, the 10th house is like the hard taskmaster, like the supervisor, and either they might have been an external one for you that's very demanding, an external authority power, or maybe there was your internal authority and your internal strict supervisor started to be very hard on you in 2020 and made you take some hard decisions regarding your career, regarding your future, regarding your, restructuring your whole life, restructuring and changing certain structures and the 10th house's structures and all such kind of stuff, especially connected to career, to worldly matters, to worldly responsibilities and duties as well. And because Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto were making hard aspects to planets in Aries, so was Mars transiting in 2020 through our planets. Maybe we had to do some great feat of willpower, something that we've never been able to achieve before, but it was not the easiest. But it took us out of our comfort zone. And if you pass the lessons well, I have such great news, guys, because now is reward time 2021 for Aries, especially Aries rising. To a lesser degree, Sun and Moon, but they will feel it as well. Reward time because Saturn and Jupiter are moving from the testing 10th house, because the 10th house is like on top of the horoscope. If Aries is here, 10th house for 2 years, 3 almost, Saturn was in our 10th house. Jupiter last year, and that was the house where, you are being supervised and tested from those most high above. It might be bosses, it might be father figures, or it might have been God. The 10th house is considered the most high, So testing there to see, are you ready for your mission? Can you pass your mission? Are you persevering? Are you going in the right direction in regards to the mission you have in life? The delays, the challenges, whatever it happened with your public image, well, you pass that test now, and Saturn and Jupiter pass, and they meet at the very beginning of the year. Actually, they meet in December 2020 already, but you'll feel it the whole 2021. They'll be together in your 11th house of gains and rewards. Woohoo! Gains and rewards. That was the most favorite house in astrology of ancient astrologers, especially the ancient European astrologers, because they said this is the most blessed house. Jupiter is most happy there. When it passes, it gives rewards and abundance and growth, and and we're gonna have that as Aries, but with an extra condition. If it was only Jupiter, everything that the ancients said, only gains, rewards, it tends to happen. But Saturn is there as well. So Saturn demands that there will be some conditions to those rewards that come. They will come with the condition of extra work, with the condition of more responsibility, with the condition of taking on something more and being more responsible towards something. But don't worry, because Saturn is fantastic. It's its favorite sign in ancient astrology, Vedic. It's called Mula Trikona sign, stronger than, it acts better. Saturn acts better in Aquarius than it acts in Capricorn, even though Capricorn it's its natural sign of rulership, because Saturn is a day planet and loves to be in a male sign, day sign, like Aquarius. And Saturn there gives way more benevolent influences than in Capricorn. In Capricorn, it's very dry, very testing, very austere. Maybe you felt that in the past 2 years, like life was more austere, work was more austere, especially 2020, Everything was just more austere, restrictive, demanding. But when it comes in Aquarius, Saturn becomes from this austere taskmaster, and in your 11th house, which again has the connotations of Aquarius, it becomes from this taskmaster and all this curmudgeonly, as they say, or, like with the ruler slapping your teacher of Capricorn in the 10th house. When it goes into our 11th house and in Aquarius, it becomes this kinder, older, elder mentor. Think of like the 11th house is the house of elder siblings as well. And it's the house of, they can be tough on us sometimes, but they usually, the meaning is, and our friends, of course, is the 11th house. Mentors, benefactors, friends, people that believe in us, people that want to give us a helping hand. So you see now from the test of the 10th house, we're going to the rewards of the 11th through support of others, through a benevolent kind of bigger brother of some sort. I'm talking metaphorically. For some, it might be actually real. Like, for example, I'm developing business projects with my older brother. And now in 2020, while I'm recording those videos, they were just going very slowly, very difficultly. But when those planets move to the 11th house of elder siblings, it will take up. We're trying to change astrolab and everything. So you can actually, some of you might get involved with some important project with all the siblings or friends. There will be a lot of activities around friendships this year. Actually, the whole year, let me give you a summary, Aries. The whole year, it's focused on communications, building bridges, establishing wider influence for us Aries. Because the most activated signs, the whole 2020 will be the air signs. Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. You see, we have Rahu here. Rahu always stimulates the sign it passes through. We'll speak about that. They're all communication signs and other people's signs. Come out of your lonely holes, Aries. It's been lonely at the top with Saturn and Jupiter in your 10th house for a while. At the top there in the 10th house. Now you're coming down a little bit from there. but you're gonna make more friends. You're gonna attract the right people now. Yes, you have to put efforts into it. It is Saturn is activating as well. But as I said, those efforts will give really good effects. You'll build up your social network, your connections. You're not gonna be alone anymore. Yes, you have to come out of your comfort zone and push into that direction, and you'll have the impulse, Saturn there. You'll build a lot more connections. Plus, not only this, not only is the south, the north node, which magnifies, it's in the sign of communication for us the whole 2021. In Gemini, again, connections with others, socializing. Jupiter and Saturn in the 11th house of friendships and large groups of people. But Mercury goes retrograde 3 times in those air signs again for us, which are social houses, in the 11th house, in the 3rd house, and in the 7th house of relationships. So this is the year, guys. You come out of your shell and you come out of those boring routines, responsibilities of the 10th house, the structures and the foundations that you've been building, many of you, that made reality feel like a grind a little bit. But you are doing the practical side till now, and the structure. Now you come out and you're like, thank you, and everyone's clapping, and you're like, thank you very much. Here it is. Here is what I created. Let me show it to you. You bring it to the public. So if you're a business person, this is a time you spread your social influence. By the end of 2021, you'd have more clients. You'd have made connections, partnerships, collaborations. You'd have made social business networks and connections that are, I tell you, they might be auspicious for you and bring you positive results for the next 10 to 20 years, because Saturn and Jupiter are starting a new cycle in your 11th house. Every 20 years, Saturn and Jupiter meets together in different places of the horoscope to show what the social role in society, in the world, it will be for this person and for the whole world. But for us Aries, especially Aries rising, but Aries sun and moon as well, they are meeting in our 11th house of social influence. So we're going to be playing some important role in the role maybe of a bigger brother, protector of others, in a sense, like a mentor to others as well. Some of us might get really involved in social activism. And I'm saying not only 2021, it kickstarts in 2021, but it will have lasting effects till the next time Saturn and Jupiter meet. I think it will be in Gemini in 2040. So we're gonna have to, whatever connections we create now in the next 1 year, they might stick with us for 10, either the half cycle of Saturn, Jupiter, or 20 years ahead. And they will put us in some important role of a socially influential person. The 11th house is society. Someone who might even take a leadership role in society, active role in society for what's happening in the world. If you're a younger person, usually it's some mentors coming to you in the shape and form of a benefactor, of a friend who gives you a helping hand. So esteemed people, Saturn and Jupiter, people in power. Jupiter is those in esteemed positions, and Saturn as well. Jupiter is like royalty. And so I'm saying it might be someone with more experience than you, someone with better social and very respectful position in society that can give you a helping hand, that can direct you, can become like a mentor or bigger sibling, like a bigger brother that is helping you. Or the elder from us, Aquarius, they might play that role for others. They might be in the role of having to spread for the next, starting from 2021 for almost 20 years, to play an important role, to create communities, to be like the big brother in the brotherhood. I'm not talking in the utopic, scary, dystopian way, big brother in the community, but to be like the beloved mentor in the community, to be like one who inspires others with visions of the future. With some of you, and it doesn't have to be on a global scale, even though the 11th house is very global. For some of you, it might really go global. But on a more personal level, it can just mean that on social media, You can start some project, for example, some of you, that is really tapping through which project, and it's usually business project or social activism project of some sort, social engagement, that really, through which you really put your fingers on the pulse of society. I mean, like Aries, we as Aries will be the most tuned sign, together with Aquarius themselves, the most tuned in for what is necessary for the world and society. The 11th house is what does society need to thrive. It rules politics, it rules social order in a sense, like how does interconnected systems, cities, such kind of complicated systems of any sort. So of course society is a big system, economic system, financial systems, social systems of any sort. So a lot of us will be called to participate in such systems, will create such systems on network. You might be like the hub of such a network. You might be like the initiator or very active participator socially in some hub of people with like-minded interests. They might be business interests, they might be political interests, they might be social interests, they might be community interests, something to do, but you're not gonna stay like a passive observer of what's happening in the world. Even for young people who are not usually interested in what's happening, like love is more important for them, whatever, they'll find themselves being like triggered to participate in active movements, to join groups. And we're not talking about superficial groups that listen to the same music. I'm going to join the fan club of Swift Taylor. Okay, so some of it might be that. It's going to be more meaningful. It's going to be deeper, because Saturn and Jupiter are about recreation of the social order. And you are playing an important role in this recreation of the social order for the next 20 years. Starting with something that will happen from 2021. And you might be wondering, well, you might look at this video at the end of the year and they say, well, nothing really important happened. I just met those people and I started going to those meetings or online. And you find out that 4 or 5 years from now, these are the most important people you met, or friends that changed your ideology and that made you, that helped you, become very socially active in some way and influential into the future. So really pay attention and be very open but cautious. Of course, Saturn is there, but I would say you can be very optimistic that the universe now will send you the right people and the right connections in 2021 that will affect you for a long time and that will align your fate somehow. And so, another way it can play out, this 11th house, Saturn and Jupiter, is that if you have, it's a business house. So is the 3rd and the 7th, where Mercury goes retrograde 3 times this year, and where the North Node is. They're all business houses. So but the business houses, in a sense, not so much as the work of producing as selling. The business is like the sell side of business, because the business has many sides. It has you create the structure, then you first the vision, then the structure is the 10th house and stuff. Then you do the hard work, produce whatever you're producing. Well, the 11th house that is so strongly activated, and the other communication houses, they're about getting more clients, they're about making the right connections and growing this business to expand to more people, So that's another thing that you'll see as a focus, and you'll see very powerful, positive results of that, or your focus will be in that direction. Jose, if you're a writer, you might be the time that you bring your art or your writing to the public and marketing. 11th, 3rd, 7th house is sales, marketing, all of those things. You will excel at those things. You have to go a bit slower. Don't rush it in your crazy Aries way that we always want to rush things. Because Saturn is part of this configuration in Aquarius. So it's not going to be like, phew, suddenly you're, having like 10 times more clients. It's persistent, consistent work, but those consistent efforts will have very long-lasting influence. The clients, the followers that you create, the people that you reach now with your message or whatever it is, that you want to share with others, they might be faithful followers. They might be faithful connections for you for many years ahead. So don't rush into that. There might be some delays, especially when Saturn goes retrograde from time to time. It goes retrograde, Saturn, from May the 23rd to October the 10th. So it can slow down a bit your things there that you're trying to grow. It's okay. It's when the hard work is done. Another thing that this 11th house is friends. So a lot of new friends will come into your life. Maybe some of them more esteemed, more accomplished, elderly Saturn. Some of them might be foreigners, Jupiter, from a very different social background. I mean, like higher social background than you, maybe higher, better education, or more knowledgeable of some sort, or just from a different state. That is Jupiter. Someone respectable in your social environment. Someone who can have such a strong impact on you, as I said. So, interesting. And as I said, you can be also in that role for others. That we talked about. Another thing is that, especially when Saturn is retrograde and stuff, there can be a revision of certain friendships, because ultimately Saturn wants you to, and Saturn will be in your second house 11th house 2021, 2022. So you will be, because Saturn is depicted also like the death with a scythe, and it wants to go and chop the dead wood, to chop the dead grass so the new grass can grow, the dead weight to release it. So you make a reassessment of your friendships, a lot of you, and those that and there might be certain blockages even to your friendships, especially older existing friendships already, because of Saturn. Social restrictions. Saturn is in your 11th house. It restricts there, but this will give you the space and time to really define who do you want in your social environment. It can get sometimes a bit lonely with Saturn in the 11th house as well, but because a lot of the people that you let to you, you let them close to you or in your social environment because they have some use, or because of business, or because of work. A lot of your social interactions might be connected on Saturnian topics, because Saturn is the stronger planet from Jupiter. It has more power the whole 2021. So the connections that you do, they will be connected, social interactions, they'll be connected to work, they'll be connected to responsibilities, to some mutual goal or ideals, social one, to some ideology of some sort, and beliefs. Because Jupiter is also there. Jupiter connects people through beliefs, through a mutual vision of the future, mutual faith systems and world, how you perceive the world systems, mutual goals, business, something bigger, grander to create, Rather than, you will eliminate more frivolous, let's say, relationships, friendships, which are taking your time and distracting you from your goals, because the 11th house, the other meaning of 11th house is fulfilling your dreams and wishes. And it's also about achieving socio-economic goals. Socio-economic means social goals, where you want to go, what position you want to take in society, how to be perceived, what impact to have. Economic is financial. So you're chasing this year goals, not only chasing them, but you're making something out of them. Jupiter allows you to create, it brings new opportunities, and Saturn in regards to your goals and dreams and the vision, but Saturn makes you take the practical steps towards them and crystallize them, manifest them into actual reality. And it's going to be hard work, but the result, you'll be crowned with a very good result. So I would say to most Aries, at the end of this year, you'd have achieved some dream of yours, something that you've been working for a while, that you've wanted to achieve for a bit. The unrealistic dreams, though, will be taken away from your life. something, you have to revise your goals and dreams and your social, financial, economic goals, how to connect with others. So for example, what can it mean when you're revising at a certain period in 2020 when Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde? That's towards the middle of the year. Jupiter and Saturn, as I said, they're retrograde from around May to October, both of them. Jupiter from June to October, middle of October, Saturn from May. So this period from spring to October is when you can be revising those goals and plans and long-term plans. Is the 11th house of achievement. You have to do the harder work then while these two planets are retrograde. It's really like you might feel like your progress has slowed down, while initially in the first 4 or 5 months of the year you can feel like this inspiration towards new goals, or this forward movement towards goals that you've had and you want to achieve, and you're pushing forward, and there is advancement, and there are new opportunities that are coming, and there are rewards, and then they go retrograde, as I said, at that period, and things slow down, and you have to fix something or repair it, or maybe realize that something is not too realistic and cut it out, or some collaborations are not so, or some connections, maybe some approach in achieving your goals and dreams, social, economic, business, or any dreams and goals, to reorganize that and fix it or do the hard work. And then when they start moving together from October, you're going to start reaping the rewards. So I really think you'll see the rewards towards the end of the year of the hard work you've done from October onwards. But I just want you to have faith, guys, because there is no more loved house in ancient astrology than the 11th house, when our bigger brothers are helping us, the angels, the universe, because those planets, Saturn and Jupiter, are making sextiles to Aries, and that's very helpful. And also, I've noticed another thing. So yes, you can revise some friendships and connections who are there to stay, but new ones will appear. Jupiter renews that area, so don't worry. You can find more beneficial connections if you have to release some. Some friends might leave your life or move somewhere, or or just you rethink it in some way. But the ones that you create now, they'll be very long lasting. They might even, like the connections you make, they'll be not only. They might not be so much heart-based connections, interesting enough, but they'll be very profitable, very useful for you in some ways as well, inspirational, helpful, like mutually beneficial, let's say. And the other thing is that the 11th house rules, we'll talk goals and wishes, gains and earnings. So a lot of you will work towards, increase gains and earnings potential. I think after October onwards, you're gonna very likely see the results of that. 11th house is any rewards like bonuses and promotions for higher salary, or if you have your own business, as I said, it's expanding, but gradually. Saturn is there. It's working really hard to expand the client base. The marketing, and maybe using new technologies there, 11th house, Aquarius, Also, a lot of you might get an idea to participate on the marketplace with either new ideas or some product, but especially to get plugged into some new social kind of, how do I say, where society participates, example like Uber, like Airbnb, and to kind of get on the marketplace through such kind of technologies, new technologies, and such news. They will appear big time from 2021 forward. Such kind of platforms that allow people to participate, even from lower social structures, to allow kind of gradually, because Saturn is there, it doesn't happen like social climbing suddenly that happens, but to allow for the barrier between the classes to kind of come closer a little bit. So socio-economic opportunities for participation that will spread more equally around the world, and you in a very specific position to take advantage of such business opportunity of participation and exchanging of goods and, you know, marketplace. So kind of gaining earning potential in this year. So I think for business it will be fantastic. For people who are in social media, it will be fantastic. People that are connected to, that want to have fans, people that want to advertise and market, people that want to that are social activists, that are in political anything to do with society, or anyone that works in any that's complicated systems. Might be a scientist, and they're gonna have a good, very good time. Maybe recognition from other scientists for certain scientific paper, whatever. Maybe achieving a PhD for some of you. 11th house is the house of PhD. Some title, not only PhD, but some title in front of your name. Again, recognition. You know, like a seniority type of thing. You know, PhD or master, whatever. So that can be a year where you come a step close, where you achieve it actually, or step in that direction. 11th house can indicate that, well, I lost my train of thought, sorry. By the end of the year, you can be more profitable. Businesses, what are the social activities? Anyone that systems, we're talking about systems. Other systems is someone who is, for example, a computer scientist or programmer. These are complicated systems. Someone who is very knowledgeable about the internet, because the internet is a very complicated system. So they can have a great and very big responsibility and very big opportunity and big plan they're working on, or project. Launch something in that area. Something that connects others. Anything that's about connecting others, or about distributive systems, distribution networks, about supply chains. You're going to have get involved with such things. If you hear an opportunity, supply chains, distribution, connecting other people, networks, you know, get involved. Or if you're involved in that, you're gonna have very likely one of the most important successful year. 11th house is also people in, for example, not only social activists, but other systems, social systems, and specialists in such. Economics, if you're involved in economics, even the stock market is connected to the 11th house, because this is where everyone exchanges goods and stuff. You can have success, a very important year with such matters. 11th house is also large gatherings. I don't know if I think like this COVID thing will go away. Yes. I mean, the flus will go away, and they'll say COVID go away, but whatever. But I think they'll probably bring vaccine, but there will be a possibility for you, Aries, to participate in some gatherings of large people. And, you know, festivals or social, whatever it's called, social activities, social protests. Some of you can be one of the signs, Aries, that are called in the next 20 years to carry on like with the beacon of light, the social changes that are happening in society. Almost like to be a leader there. So it's starting interesting. All right. Let me just give you a few days. Saturn will most strongly influence in a positive way those Aries who are born from the 26th of March till the 4th of April, if it's your sun sign in Aries. So around maybe a day more, 25th of March, 5th of April, but 26th of March till the 4th of April approximately. Or we have this a rising sign or moon sign from 6 degrees till 14 degrees in Aries. 6 till 14 degrees, Saturn is making a sextile there. So whatever you start this year, if it's your sun, usually some, career, goal-oriented, or some important man in your life, it will be lasting. It will have lasting results. It will have stable. It will grow. It will require efforts. It's Saturn, but it's not efforts that will take you out of, that will overwhelm you. They will be easily incorporate it in your other existing responsibilities, and whatever you build now will be very lasting, whether through career or whatever, will be lasting for a long time. If it's your moon in those 6 degrees till 14 degrees in Aries, often it indicates like emotional connections build or matters undertaken in regards to home, family, or property. You receive support somehow, and they'll be lasting. Yes, there might be more responsibilities there, but it will flow more naturally, and whatever you achieve, you'll be pleased with it. The results will be very constructive in your personal, emotional life. It will help you organize your feelings as well and your internal order. While those Aries who are born from the 11th of April till the 20th of April, so the last 10 days of Aries, from the 11th till the 20th of April, or basically if you have your ascendant, sun or moon, from 22 degrees till 30 degrees in Aries, well, you're more influenced by Jupiter this year rather than by Saturn. And this means there will be, I'm one of those, so there will be opportunities that come, and they will happen much easier for you than for the other batch of people that are Saturn influenced, much faster. Whatever plans you're growing, whatever activities you're doing in your life, because I'm giving those degrees because this is where Saturn and Jupiter 3 times aspect those degrees. So the changes are very lasting, very profound, more palpable. All Aries will feel Saturn and Jupiter, like I talked at the beginning, all that general thing, but just those specific degrees, I have a few specific things to do. And those born from the 11th to the 20th of April, 22 degrees to 30 degrees in Aries, they will feel Jupiter sextile to their sun, moon, or ascendant. And with Jupiter, they will be more aware of the growth. Actually, yes, there will be some responsibility with Saturn there, but way more, they'll see things happen faster with more ease, like you push the door and it opens. While the Saturn sextile people, they have to push the door, find the key, unlock it, and then it opens. Well, and also they would feel those second batch, 22 degrees till 30 Aries, those benevolent support from those maybe in higher positions, more easy, faster rewards and growth and rewards as well. And all those things that I talked about Jupiter in the 11th house. But definitely whatever, if it's your moon in those degrees in Aries, something with your personal, emotional life can be very supportive, or through a woman in your life, or home, property. If it's your ascendant, overall your life and health. If it's your sun, your career, goals, again, it can be health again, that is strengthened, that is improved. But I would say this, even the first batch, the Saturn sextile, it will be more hard work, but you will do it and you have great results, more lasting results than the Jupiter group, very possibly. Jupiter group might happen very easy and it's very rewarding, and they'll be like, wow, this year is just flowing, type of thing. Okay. So yeah, whatever you want to do, if you're the second batch of people, 22 degrees till 30, I feel very hopeful for us, honestly. All right, so then we're going to have, I just want to mention, all right, sorry, now we're going to the nodes, because the nodes are very important. In ancient astrology, actually, in Vedic astrology, the nodes are the most important. Well, the nodes, since the spring of 2019 until the end of since the spring of 2020, since around June 2020, till the end of 2021, have been in your third house. The north node is in your third house, Gemini. The south node, Ketu, is in your ninth house, Sagittarius. So the lessons will continue to be the same. So what does it mean? Whatever Rahu is in our horoscope, it's like a magnifying glass. It tends to give more of that area of life. It tends to give the material manifestation of that area of life. Well, it's in your third house. That's communications, contacts, marketing, advertising, getting in touch with more people, associates, there will be more and more of those. And Rahu means foreign elements or something new and progressive. A lot of you might incorporate maybe some softwares that you use for your work, you know, because third house is the skills we use, the information. So a lot of you might incorporate a lot of new technologies of social media, because Rahu is social media in Gemini. A lot of you might incorporate new softwares and stuff like that. Third house is Rahu transiting third house in Gemini, meeting and connecting to younger people, possibly, you know, because it's Gemini energy in your social environment, or collaborating or working in a small group environment with younger people, with a small team. You can even get like a team of people you work with in a more youthful type of team that you can find yourself. Like currently for me, it's like I'm working with 20 somethings, you know, and it's great. I feel younger because of that. Siblings, younger siblings as well. It can really bring a lot of focus on relationships with younger siblings and relatives, and exchange with neighbors, activities they can manifest, and creating new such, you know, new friends from your being involved with the neighborhood as well on the local level. And a lot of short trips can manifest. Rahu gives many of third house is trips, like maybe going for the weekend somewhere, or having to travel for work, so more commuting, a lot of like using vehicles and stuff. If you don't know how to drive, Rahu transiting your third house can activate you to learn to drive, or activate you to learn to use some software or some tool. Third house is tool, software, anything. To learn to play an instrument. Rahu gives passion, whatever it passes through. Temporary, but it gives it. So some of you might just decide to learn to play the piano, to operate the software system, or to program, or to write articles, or to learn astrology techniques. Learning any new skills, this Rahu in the third house activated, it makes you very curious. Rahu loves transiting Gemini in the third house. It makes you like a kid. Oh, this is interesting. Let me try this skill, this hobby. Oh, let me try that one. You know, and if you've been more close to new experiences, Rahu in Gemini definitely activates them. This curiosity, this natural curiosity to try new things. Like the third house, like, oh, let me play a bit with this, let me play a bit with that, let me play. So fantastic time to find new interests, even hobbies to develop, to start learning different books, or studying different books, to take a few courses. I haven't taken courses for a while for learning techniques and skills, and I've been like buying courses and stuff. I'm enjoying it, like, and know-how, you know, like they give you specific training instructions. You don't have to reach philosophically to the answer yourself. It's like they're more like training type of instructions, webinars, seminars type of things, you know. And you can be excited about learning something new, very different that you've learned before, because Rahu is progressive, different, technology connected. The people in your environment can be youthful or more foreign. Rahu is foreign influence as well, very unusual, like maybe from a different religion, or maybe from a different skin of color, or different, you know, type of something unusual that you're not used to, but such kind of more outliers people and connections, more out there, more exciting, you know, something not typical for you. So that's what Gemini does. Of course, it stimulates learning, communication. Some of you might feel stimulated to write more, to do websites and social media, start businesses. Again, third house of business. I told you how the social houses are activated. And to learn the know-how, how to run a business. This is the third house. The marketing, the advertising, the managing, the administration, of the website, how to reach out clients, you know, all of those things. You are primed for that. It's perfect for you. I'm doing it. What is third house as well? Your mind might be a little bit on overdrive, like not stopping, but it's fun. And South Node is in your ninth house. Whatever South Node is, it's like things, the south node is the dragon's tail. Rahu, the north node, is the dragon mouth. So you want more and more and more. You want more contacts, more communications, more clients, more correspondence, more emails there'll be, and you're doing it. And maybe you're reading one book, then another. At the same time, you're watching TV and Facebooking. You can multitask with this Rahu in the third house. And you'll be like, ooh, I'm going to run in the morning, then I'm going to do that. And your whole day is busy, busy, busy. And you're interested in doing different things, reprogramming your mind. Well, that's Rahu. More. South node, Ketu, the dragon's tail. What does the tail do? Excrete. So this is the dragon's tail. It's going to be passing through your ninth house. It's been already in 2019, 20 for some time. Now in 2021, the whole year is there. Well, possibly there is less of an opportunity to travel to faraway places. While Rahu intensifies in the third house, travel on short distances, shorter travels, under a month or shorter distance, and time. The south node in the ninth, like long distance, maybe relocations to different lands or whatever, or a 1 month trip away, it's more difficult, it's less likely, or there's less interest on your part even in that. There might be less interest in pursuit of academical type of, education, because the ninth house and third house, they're both education. But the ninth house is higher knowledge, in a sense where you see principles, when you're thought to take separate facts and make and find out the law in them, find out the pattern in them. Right now is perfect for gathering different skills, different facts and information, but it's harder to put them together. Some of you might feel more and more disconnected from their from their belief systems. Maybe disillusioned as well, because the south node can have this influence. Disillusioned from the things they used to believe before. Some of you might get disillusioned from the religion they were raised with, or from the cultural norms. The ninth house is the cultural norms of where they've raised or where they are. So they release it, while acquiring a lot of new information, Rahu in the third house. And the south node in the ninth house also indicates that you're not so much in your head with philosophizing and ideals. You're way more practical. And that's what exactly Rahu in the third house, because we have to focus on the north node, which, wants us, whatever, to manifest more, is to go and try out things. Rather than keep on learning and trying to see the bigger picture. Ketu in the ninth house, I cannot do it until I have all the knowledge about it. No. Rahu in the third house goes, jump in the mud and get your hands dirty. Try it, but I have not figured the last step of the plan. Sagittarius south node says. And Rahu in the third house, says, you don't need to take the first step. You figure out the next step after that. And that should be a strategy for the year, guys. Just go and play like kids play. They don't have an idea what kind of tower they're gonna build. They just go there, pass each other cubes, collaborate with the small groups of people, throw ideas around. Rahu in the third house. Start chatting with people online if you can't meet people in real life, or just everyday environment, sharing your ideas and brainstorming. The ideas will come to you in moments of conversation or brainstorming. This is when you're going to have the biggest breakthroughs. Rahu gives breakthroughs. Well, if you try to get, with south node, get stuck in the south node in the ninth house, I need to have all the information, all the plan before I get there, you're going to get stuck. So just go there, jump, try. You'll figure it out in the process of playing and doing. Some of you, south node in the ninth house can indicate that you get disillusioned or just with some teacher, or there can be disconnection and letting go of a teacher or father figure in life. The ninth house, that's the more difficult manifestation. There can be disconnection and disillusionment, or kind of turning away from kind of high-minded, spiritual type of things. Now it's time to practically play around, you know, third house, rather than study the philosophy. And the ninth house can indicate that some of you might end up certain studies to start new, more practical ones. For example, ending university degree that is more kind of overall and specify and specialize, because the third house is to specialize in certain skill and to leave the broader, you know, like many degrees, they're like broader. So some of you might end up such kind of, you know, ninth house, more broader, encyclopedian, Renaissance type of education, and go into more specializing influence. All right. Of course, there can be some spiritual crisis with South Node in Sagittarius because of the disillusionment of you realizing that how you've seen reality is not exactly the same, the way it is. So it can be a little bit of a spiritual crisis, faith-based crisis for some of you. But overall, I don't think there's anything, you know, to worry about. Plus, it can make you more detached about your opinions. The ninth house is, you know, the preachy attitude. I know it best, and this is how it should be. This is the morally right thing to do. And South Node detaches you. I've been noticing that as an Aries. South Node transiting my ninth house from the Sun. I've been noticing that before I used to get like very wound up about, you know, how I perceive reality and getting upset. Why don't other people perceive reality? Why don't they see it? I'm like, meh, you know. I will say it, whatever it is, and detach from it. And so you can become a bit less intense and more detached from such what is right, who is right, am I right, teaching, preaching to others. You can even let go of some teaching projects, for example, or you can teach about Ketu subjects. If you're someone who teaches astrology, Ketu rules astrology, it can be great. Someone who teaches spirituality, someone who teaches detachment. Ketu rules, what else? Spirituality, astrology, channeling higher knowledge. Ketu is a channeling planet of some sort. So if you're a teacher, but a teacher on spiritual matters and not in a brimstone and fire type of way, in a way more spiritual and detached, without conditions type of spirituality, then this can be a good time, you know, South Node in the ninth house. All right. Let's not get stuck too much. There are eclipses. The nodes always cause the eclipses, you know. So the eclipses will be primarily in your third and ninth houses. The first eclipse is on May 26th, so maybe a month before, a month after. There is a lunar eclipse with the South Node in your ninth house. Maybe letting go of or completing or seeing the results of some teaching project or some project connected to spreading knowledge, or ending such a project, or maybe ending a relationship with a father figure, teacher figure of some sort, or some culmination of some educational project, seeing the results and leaving it, for example. Because this is full moon's eclipse are about ending, completing, seeing results. Some import-export matter you've been working on, they can be completion or seeing the results of. Then there is a solar eclipse on June the 10th in your third house. Solar eclipse with Rahu, the North Node. It will bring you new things there. So around June, expect opportunities or something new that is being born in your life through collaborations in a small group environment, some business project, third house that can come out, some new skill, something to do with websites to be born, or to be, like a new idea to be activated, some small social gatherings or projects or associations that can be born, but they're important ones. There can be some crisis in relationships with siblings or relatives and teammates, workmates, because eclipses can always bring some uncertainty and crisis. But these lead to new opportunities, new commercial opportunities, new marketing projects, new connection projects, learning new skills, all those third houses that we talk about, the eclipse there powerfully activates it in June. And then there's another lunar eclipse. This time it's Aries in your second house. That's in November 19th. Lunar eclipse in your second house, November 19th. So November, they can be at 27 degrees. They can be culmination of some financial project, seeing the result of your financial situation. If it's good, it might be good results. If you've been doing the wrong things, you can have some crisis financially of some sort, but something important happens that is about completions, conclusions, seeing results, receiving the rewards from, or receiving the results from, depends, matters concerning assets, financial situations, money, so forth. And then there is another eclipse. This is solar eclipse now. Solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Now, new moon eclipse. Sagittarius in your 9th house. That's in December the 4th. Again, it does not directly affect Aries. None of those eclipses directly affect you, to stress you out, to turn your life around, unless you have planets in Sagittarius or Gemini, and many Aries might have, so you have to check this out, or just check your planetary transit calendar. You can buy transits for 1 year there, and you'll see if any of those eclipses actually activates a specific planets in your horoscope. Just activating a house, And the last eclipse, as I said, on December the 4th, is at your 9th house, guys. New beginnings in connection to this 9th house. Possibly new opportunity to travel can happen. Some developments with acquiring citizenship in foreign countries, faraway places. Some opportunities for knowledge can come to you. Some new belief system, some new teaching project or educational project of some sort. Some new import-export project, traveling project as a possibility. Okay, now let's go through the other very important thing, Mercury retrograde, guys. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times this year. It happens every year that Mercury goes retrograde. And this time it's quite supportive for Aries, I would think, because it's happening in their social business houses, communication. And actually those houses that I've been talking all about, the 3rd, the 7th, the 11th, where Saturn and Jupiter are, where Rahu is. In ancient astrology, they're known like Kama houses, desire houses. These are the houses where we fulfill our desires. We don't have much mental, spiritual rest there. They're very extrovert houses, but Aries likes that. Aries likes action to happen, to be busy. And now, even though I know a lot of Aries like to be loners, you can't be left alone, Aries, this year. It's like there is so many people around you, whether directly or virtually, connections, contacts. You'll have to confront that and deal with it. So the first retrograde of Mercury happens in your 11th house, Aries, in Aquarius, where there is already so much happening. And it's happening from January the 30th to February the 20th. So, the first 20 days of February, basically. It's happening, and it will actually can be quite beneficial for people born, Aries is born from the 1st till the 17th of April, or who have their ascendant on the moon from 11 to 26 degrees in Aries. Because Mercury retrograde from the 11th house, let's bring Mercury in, will make sextile to your sign, to your sun, moon, or ascendant. The degrees here, you can see them. So in that period, you might be revising some socio-economic project, and revising, editing some goal, some long-term plan and goal that you have to put 3 times more efforts about. Mercury is retrograde, you have to push harder, fix, correct something, maybe work on some such project, business project, marketing, advertising. Maybe you might be revising a strategy for marketing, strategy for bringing out a product, or maybe revising a project, of some sort, or revising your gains and earnings, or revising your relationships with friends, or getting back to old projects, socioeconomic projects, to fix something there, or deciding if you want to stay in a certain relationship, so connection. And we're talking, these are not personal relationships, these are more like friendships, or online or client-based relationships, or groups of mutual interest. You might revise such, or have to do extra hard work with such people, more efforts in such environments. But I think overall it's going to be supportive, And then when it turns direct, you'd have some very important, maybe have achieved some little dream of yours, and Saturn and Jupiter, they are also helping. Maybe you'd have, created a way better business plan or marketing, how to reach more people. Maybe you'd have reorganized your clients or revisited some clients and how to, connect with them. Or revisited and reconnected with some friends from the past. That can happen as well when Mercury is retrograde there. And then Mercury goes retrograde in your third house. And that happens from May 29th to June 22nd. And it will affect those Aries who are born from the 5th till the 15th of April. And again, in a positive way, because it's sending sextile. 5th till the 15th of April. If it's your sun, moon, or ascendant, is from 16 till 25 degrees in Aries. 16 till 25 degrees in Aries. They'll receive the helpful influence of Mercury from the third house. Again, they might be the revision of information, of letters, revision of something written, spoken, preparation, putting final touches to some project about teaching, speaking, communicating, business, commercial activities of any sorts. Some of you might be repairing cars and having to find alternative routes to work, or traveling routes. Some of you might be revisiting short trips, places from before. Some of you might be getting in touch with siblings and relatives you haven't seen in a while, or teammates, workmates, classmates from the past. Some of you might bring up issues in a small group environment, or with relative siblings, of something that needs to be addressed and needs to be communicated about, and something that either they're not happy about or you're not happy about, and Mercury needs to bring it out when it's retrograde there, so it doesn't fester anymore. So communications, you might find out some missing piece of information you were not aware about before, and you can notice it, and you'll see, wow, it can be done better this way. So Mercury retrograde, okay, we can do the website better, we can do the newsletter better, or we can communicate to clients we haven't been in touch better than before. Again, very similar topics. Most stressful is that third house is communication devices, emails, social medias. Be careful. There might be some frustrations there, like in the sense of something blocked, delayed, anything online that you're using. Be careful with your passwords around that time when Mercury is retrograde. Or that you say something and it's misunderstood, and you have to discuss it and explain what you meant, for example. Or you might want to bring and talk about things from the past, or you might want to revise things from the past, like some class, some course, or some old skill that you've forgotten and you haven't done. You might try and get it and do it again. Oh my God, sorry. My legs are hurting me. I have to sit on the ground. I have to find something. Sorry. I can't do this. Sorry, my studio is a nightmare. Okay, so yes, so definitely flow of information that you've forgotten about, that you have to revise, and of contacts that you reconnect with and revise old issues with, hopefully to fix them. If not, you can eliminate someone from your team or someone from your social media, revise and delete emails, delete accounts on social media and stuff like that while Mercury is retrograde there in some sort. All right, so be careful with your devices though, phones and anything of communication device, because and mistakes with transactions that might happen. These are all third house, especially technological issues. But as I said, Mercury is doing good aspects to Aries, so the final result will be better. And you'll probably see it when Mercury turns direct by the by June 22nd. And the third time Mercury is retrograde is from September 27th to October 18th. So the autumn for the Northern Hemisphere, and it's going to affect those areas born from the 29th of March till the 16th of April. Oh, that's me. 29th of March till the 16th of April. Or if your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant are from 10 degrees in Aries till 26 degrees in Aries. Now Mercury goes into our 7th house. Now it's gonna be an opposition. That's more challenging aspect to us. So maybe we'll feel as Aries this last Mercury retrograde the most. If it can make some damage, you have to be most cautious around that, especially those degrees that I mentioned and those days if you're born as an Aries. So there can be challenges from relationships, for example. Let's give the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Depends on the consciousness of the person, their horoscope. Well, say they can be, if you are upset with someone, 7th house is relationships, one-to-one relationship. It might be a business partnership, a client, or it might be your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or a dear friend as well. Someone that you have special one-to-one exchanges with. It might be business partner, personal. So you might have to renegotiate a relationship. Might be renegotiation of a business contract, or if you're partnering with others, you might re-examine, do you want to keep on partnering with this person, or they might re-examine that and not want to partner with you, or re-examine how you certain contract, some of you might end it, or if you're trying to sign a contract to sell or buy something, to start working somewhere, 7th house is all contracts. It might get prolonged a bit longer. It has to be re-examined. New clauses might have to be put, a bit delayed. Or it might mean that if you're, some things from the past you might bring up in your relationships with close people, or your partner might bring those back and say like, listen, I don't feel this is fair. Let's address it. Let's talk about it. Let's change something about relationships. Sometimes there can be a mini crisis that needs to be talked through. And if it's the right relationship, it stays in your life, personal or business. If it's not, if there is lack of desire to cooperate from one side and to renegotiate and readdress those issues, or to open up and speak, it can indicate like big lack of balance and challenge then. But let's go to the best case scenario. It can just mean that you have to use a lot of communication and skills 3 times more than usual in some project aimed at attracting more clients. It's again, popularity, 7th house, reaching a wider client audience. You might have to revise such a project, some sales, every time Mercury goes retrograde in the 11th, 3rd, or 7th house, which it does for you this year, you can do like business activities become very busy, very important. You fix mistakes and problems. Yes, it's stressful during that time. You might have to change sales strategy, but you see things from a very different perspective, so you can have better sales strategy or better difference. You can see relationships, personal or not personal, from a different perspective, and shift and change your approach to your partner or to other people, to clients, to teammates, whatever. Those houses are other people in our life, starting from relatives to acquaintances or people you've never met that might be your clients, you've just seen their name or whatever, or your audience. Any people around us, the others. This is what we're reevaluating with these Mercury retrogrades in those social houses. And we're seeing, and when Mercury goes retrograde, we attract more, we see things from a different point of view. We attract more quirky, different people who gives us a different perspective. So these Mercury retrogrades can mean that you have some conversation with another person that really shifts your perception. So other people, in process of communication or exchange with other people, something changes your mind. Something shifts in your mind, how you perceive. Your mental narrative can shift. Your plans can shift. And that can be a fantastic thing because they give us a different perspective. So that's the positive side of Mercury retrograde in the 7th house. Or you can just really improve your relationships while Mercury is retrograde there, because you've had some explanatory conversations, brought things from the past, settled them, and you really, you've made a different plan and promises for yourself, and you take it to the next level. Or it can mean that you're working on a project that involves skills and business project or work project, or something that requires mutual collaboration and skills and conversation with another partner, with someone else. Not a project you're doing alone, but with another person. Mercury retrograde in Libra, so it requires 3 times more effort, something to be fixed, to be made better, the great efforts, and then you'll see the great results by the time Mercury turns direct, which is around the middle of October. And also it can mean like people from your past again can come. You see, I think this year, 2021, Aries are about to meet a lot of people they haven't seen in a while, with Mercury retrograde in those social houses. Plus they'll meet a lot of new people because of Saturn, Jupiter conjunction in the 11th house, Rahu in the 3rd. So a lot of contact, past, old, and like you're learning to socialize in a different way. And you're learning to reevaluate those contacts as well, and to see them from a different perspective. Personal relationships or non-personal. You're readjusting your attitudes and connection with other people. How you can reach them, touch their hands, hearts. How you can do something for them or they for you, something productive, something, exchanging of information. They're your biggest motivation this year, Aries. And you motivate others. You're not the universe, an atom on its own. All right, and then let's quickly go through where a few specific months, because wherever Mars moves, because you're ruled by Mars, you're going to see an intensified focus in those areas of life. So from January the 7th till March the 5th, Taurus enters your 2nd house, so in that period you put a lot of focus and attention on financial matters, on practical solutions, assets, resources, maybe creating something there, putting more energy, maybe a bit more expenses likely as well. Then from March the 5th to April 24th, March 5th to April 24th, Mars will be in your 3rd house, Aries, in our 3rd house. Will be extremely active socially. Maybe writing a lot of posts on Facebook, maybe writing articles, or having to talk more, having more emails than other times, or maybe even being active in some small group environment, or having to focus on business, commercial activities of any sort, communication activities, learning skills, communicating, media, marketing, all of those things. Quite good. Learning new skills. Then April 24th to June the 12th, but again it can make you more competitive with others. March 5th to April 24th, while Mars is in Gemini, in your 3rd house, you can just use your words in a way that's a bit like can hurt others, or to motivate them. That's the high octave of Mars. Or just be careful not to have competitiveness in small group environment. And if you're in a small group environment, you're the leader there somehow. But you can see like there might be some kind of a clashes with a small team of people, neighbors, or you go to the shop and people might be a bit more rude, or you might shout back at them. This is the more negative side of Mars in the 3rd, but usually it plays with the best, I've noticed, ways. Then from April 24th to June 12th, now I want you to be more careful, because Mars enters your 4th house in the sign of Cancer. We get more emotional. We act more on emotional impulse. So you can be like suddenly shout out at someone or get upset, because emotionally kind of a bit like a volcano, steaming volcano, especially to close people, your family members, more likely to create some tensions with family members, some stresses there. In the best possible scenario, you can do some activities with your family members, some project together, or some physical activity around home, like the garden, like fixing something around home, like moving, relocating, helping your mom something physically as well. It's just a bit more stressful emotionally, to some extent. Then from June 12th to July the 30th, June 12th to July the 30th, Mars will be in your 5th house in Leo. You're going to start playing out more. You're going to focus from the family matters of the previous months to play and fun and game and activities with your children if you have, or some new creative projects, and you can, you know, go after them more excitedly. Then from July the 3rd, romantic pursuits, holidays type of things. Then from July the 30th till September the 16th, Mars enters your 6th house. So you can become very productive and efficient and do a lot of work, fix a lot of things around you, practical problem solving practical problems. You can have more critical approach, rational critical approach to problems, and go and logically solve them as well. There can be some issues with health. Be careful around that time, because Mars in the 6th house can activate some illness. It's kind of like a inflammatory condition in the body, a sore throat and cuts or burns, little accidents that have interruption. But also it can make you more enthusiastic and driven to take care of your health, to tackle some health issues, to do better health routines in your life, like exercise and stuff, just for health reasons basically. And work can increase, because 6th house is responsibilities, duties, work, so you can be quite busy on certain projects around that time, enthusiastic about them, or just having to put energy. And what else do we have? And then from September 16th till November 1st, so from the middle of September till November, Mars enters our 7th house. So that's when it opposes our planet. So our biggest driving force becomes another person. And I think that's when Mercury is retrograde as well. Yeah, Mercury is retrograde for some time during that. Yes, well, yes, exactly. So there will be a lot of focus in the autumn, September till November, on relationships with others. There might be some conflicts and confrontation. You might feel like you want to shout out and react. So this is more critical month, you know, because also Mercury, as we said, becomes retrograde from September till the middle of October, while Mars transiting your 7th house from the middle of September till November. So September, October in particular, just be more careful with relationships. There can be some confrontations, but you can do a lot of things. You can get very productive results as well, and you can do things there in collaboration with someone, or involving partnerships. But you'll be more reactive to others, and others will be more reactive to you, especially sharper with words, Mars, Mercury in that 7th house. So you have to be more cautious there, especially if you're in a relationship that is volatile. But you might realize that I no longer need this relationship, so, you know, it can be. But if something can be more tasty in relationship those 2 months with, you know, with boyfriends, girlfriends, clients, people in your environment. And then from November the 1st till December the 14th, Mars goes into your 8th house. And not only that, but Mars becomes visible in your 8th house. It is invisible. Actually, Mars becomes invisible from the first, from, when does it become invisible? Mars becomes invisible from July the 14th to December the 1st. Yes, from July the 14th to December the 1st. And especially if it's your ascendant sign is in Aries. While Mars is invisible, you can find yourself retreating a little bit. You'll still be doing things, but not so much in the public eyes, because Mars becomes invisible. Maybe completing some cycle and preparing to start a new one when Mars becomes visible from December the 1st, basically. And this new cycle, you feel like reborn from December the 1st, because you might feel a little bit drained while Mars was next to the Sun, or more frustrated easily, because Mars gets agitated in the rays of the Sun. But maybe it's like this is like a needed period where Mars goes to join the Sun. The Sun is the central intelligence, of course, of our solar system. So the king gives new ideas to Mars, which you can implement from December the 1st, and like almost like be reborn in a new way. So if you're lacking energy or motivation while Mars is invisible, don't worry, because it's reborn again the 1st of December, and you'll be like, yeah. your actions can become visible then. You can bring them to the world. Your actions can feel way more empowered and motivated. And because Mars gets born or becomes visible in Scorpio in December, they can be like, it can indicate that for the next 2.5 years, which is a cycle of Mars, a full cycle, you'll be working on matters connected to mutual resources. You'll be putting a lot of energy, say, on growing the resources of a family or some investments, on taxes, insurances, inheritances. You have to fix some problems there, or you have to, do some things that are more demanding, that require the willpower of Mars, the willpower and the warrior-like courage. And it can also indicate some breakthroughs connected to psychological issues, and not only in this period while Mars is in Scorpio from November 1st to December 14th, but as I said, it can indicate that this is a consistent issue or theme for 2 years, because Mars is born there. So theme connected to psychological breakthroughs, making like a big shift psychologically, and it's quite fast shift. Sometime in the next 2.5 years, starting from November 2021, it can happen. Like you break through for some trauma or some stagnant situation as well, or break through some of you might indicate like a spiritual awakening of the Kundalini centers and the chakras, because the 8th house in Scorpio and Mars there becoming born is like new spiritual journey, the birth of that, because the 8th house in Scorpio ruled the openings in the body, and the chakras are openings, energy openings, so it can spin them. Mars there being born for you. For some of you, it can mean that from the end of this year, for the next 2 years, it's a cycle of you passing through the bridge of one reality to another, somehow burning, the opening of those chakras. Also renewal of sexuality or intimacy of some sort. For some of you, can mean conceptions. Mars in the 8th house is that. For others of you, it can mean new interest in something occult or deep research or psychological work on yourself as well, or occult astrology knowledge, or something that you get, that Mars is reborn there in your Mars, and you get reborn with this, desire to investigate, to study deeper, to research. But anyway, and last but not least, Venus will be in Aries from March 22nd till April 15th. This is a very auspicious period for Aries, I would say. Not the whole period, but definitely something nice can happen then. You can, if you have any beauty procedures or any dates, Venus rules beauty procedures from March 22nd to April 15th, when Venus is in your sign. It's going to be good. Just make sure the moon is not invisible. If you have, it can be some more romantic time. If you want to experience anything pleasant with a holiday or something that is pampering yourself, you have more opportunity there to improve your appearance, to find yourself. So anything beauty connected, do it then, or buying clothes, do it then, because you kind of will probably enjoy the results. And in April, Mercury is in Aries and the Sun. So that's very active and important month for Aries generally, whether it's Sun, Moon, or Rising. I think in a quite auspicious and good time, in a good way as well. So any Venusian things, plan a romantic date as well. Those periods, March from spring equinox to April the 15th. And even money. They can be like influx of money for some of you. And more resources, And okay, now I want to give some specific days. I've been giving specific days, but only Pluto from the outer planets, you're going to feel only Pluto this year, because Pluto is affecting Aries with aspect. Let's find Pluto. Here it is. This year, Pluto moves from 24 degrees in Capricorn till 27 degrees in Capricorn, which means if you have Sun, Moon, or Ascendant from 24 degrees Aries to 27 degree Aries, Pluto is squaring them. It means if your Sun is there from 24 to 27 degrees in Aries, that you're born from April 14th to April 17th, plus minus a day. 14th till 17th of April. The Pluto square, your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, can be very intense time. A time that It's very psychological. It's not constant, but it's like on the back burner. It lasts for a year or a couple of years almost, where you become a bit Plutonian. For me, it's Venus that Pluto is squaring, not the Sun. The Sun was this year. I got deep. I can tell you what happened. I just had Pluto square my Sun. I'll give you my example. So I got a lot into the darker side of life, conspiracy theories, the Satanists, the children that are being, you know, like all those conspiracy theories. I went down the rabbit hole, and I've been doing that all my life since 2020. Read all David Icke's books from in 2000 and in the year 2000. So everything that's been happening this year, I was like, that's it, here it is. I knew about the plan of COVID 10 years ago by reading a lot of such books of research and whistleblowers. Not 10 years, sorry, 2005, so 15 years ago. And they said exactly how it was going to play. So when I saw this thing unfold, you know, everything that I've read, everything that I've researched, it happened exactly as the plan. As you know, there was leaked information from group meetings of the dark elites in years ago. So everything that I've been always, because I have Sun opposition Pluto natally, so I'm natal. Always I smell out when there's something dark or rotten, and I kind of obsess about it. I'm kind of not drawn to the dark side. It's just I need to know it. Like I need to know the darkness before I can go to the light. I need to know the darkness and not be afraid of it. And this Pluto square my Sun, you get to know the darkness. You get to know the shadow side. You might get very fascinated with dark knowledge, information, or occult, life after death. I bought like 8 books this year when Pluto squaring my Sun about life after death. And I can give you recommendations, read those books, because it's, you know, the Chico Xavier's book. If anyone is born those days or has degrees, Sun, Lunar, Ascendant in Pluto, do it, because that's one remedy for Pluto square, you know, Pluto hard aspect. To read about past lifetimes, to read about life after death, that's the high octave of Pluto, to read about transformation, to read psychology, the occult, astrology, dive very deep into such topics. You can have some of the most profound, intense insights if you deep down. Or if you're not into astrology and the occult, it's just psychology. Work with a psychologist one-on-one, or just read astrology or psychology books and try to self-analyze. And you're going to have such profound insights. I've done family constellations since Pluto started squaring my Sun. And a lot of things emerge from that. You're like, wow, okay, I realize it. Deep realizations. On another level, I was close to death this year. I didn't die, but I was pregnant and I lost a baby exactly when Pluto squared my Sun. So it's again, Pluto is about the verge between life and death. So Pluto can activate pregnancies, conceptions, deaths as well, whether life coming or life going, or at least talking about. And also when Pluto squared my Sun, I lost my first boyfriend. He committed a suicide from 20 years ago, but you know, he did it now, and then a month before that, my second boyfriend died. So it's like Pluto themes. They might be. I'm not saying someone will die. Please don't be thinking that. But for me, the Sun, it was the Sun. Important male passed away that I haven't seen in years. I mean, but when I found out, it's like awareness of Pluto. The Sun, if it's your Sunday, might be father. It might be big change with your career, restructuring, or big profound realization about wanting to do something more meaningful, how to change your career in a more meaningful way. There can be power struggles with authority figures if it's your Sun, or male figures, or kind of. But also Pluto can give you great willpower, like never to transform your life in any way. It's this obsessive drive that you won't find any other time in your life. So anything huge that you're afraid of that you want to do, if you're having Pluto transit, you're going to do it. Especially if you've been very afraid to do it till now, you're going to confront it and you're going to do it. Like a friend of mine who had Pluto transit, she was always afraid to death almost to lose the support of someone financially, and he broke up with her and she had to survive on herself financially. And while Pluto was transiting her Sun, she created her own business. and she confronted her biggest fear and did the best thing possible, you know. So Pluto aspects make us do feats of willpower that we don't have other times, and to align our will to God's will. Otherwise, we can be taken to the edge. And then, you can just think a lot more about deeper topics. Sometimes it's just that. And if it's your moon in Aries, for example, it might be connected to family, to important woman or relationships in your life, to the mother, to change of house and place of living, to deep emotional transformation, to traumas from the past, bringing to the surface so you can heal them and release them. If it's some manipulative things connected with family or secrets coming out, or your past as well. If it's your ascendant, it's relationships, you and others, that it's this Plutonian energy. You're changing, you're transforming in some way, and it's and your goals are changing. Saturn from Pluto from the 10th house, and that might even change your physical appearance and kind of create your attention in your relationship and partnerships as well. If you're not in the right relationship, Pluto squared the ascendant degrees, if it's from 24 to 27 degrees, that could be the end of a relationship irretrievably. It's the end, you know, after Pluto. It's a rebirth, but in a new form. Anyway, so I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Wow, so much better this year. So much better, so much easier, with so many rewards. As I said, this 11th house, it's not the house of partying and having fun, but it's the house of following your long-term goals and being very active out there in the world and seeing the results of that. So wow, I barely talked about love, did I? You're like, oh, what about love? Well, don't worry, there is a lot of activations of social contacts there. And I want you to advise you again, do check your personal transits, because your Venus might be somewhere, maybe in Aquarius, where Jupiter is passing and you meet the love of your life, or your Venus might be in Taurus, where Uranus is passing, you know. So we're just talking here about the sign Aries, if it's your sun, moon, or ascendant, you know. So for specific transits, you don't even need to watch this video. Check out your free transit calendar, which shows you only 7 days of transits ahead, but you can get the whole year. And it's like going to a professional astrologer who is reading your chart. Each transit is just specific for you. No one else in the world has it. And at the specific time that you're going to have it with interpretation. So check out this 1-year subscription possibility. Thank you so much. And I will see you next year. And, or maybe next month for the monthly videos. But guys, I'm so hopeful. I mean, Aries have a lot of great stuff ahead. Bye.